Have you ever wondered if the next 5-cent coin you pull from your pocket, coin jar, or old collection could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even an astonishing amount at auction? Today we're uncovering one of America's most iconic coins, the legendary Buffalo nickel. For decades, millions of these historic nickels passed through everyday hands, but hidden among them are extraordinary rarities that have shocked collectors and reached remarkable prices. Some feature rare dates and mint marks, while others contain unusual varieties and errors so valuable that a single 5-cent coin can be worth far more than most people ever imagine. The incredible part is that many people have unknowingly spent, overlooked, or discarded these treasures without ever realizing what they had. In this video we'll reveal the fascinating history of the Buffalo nickel, explain how to identify valuable dates and mint marks, uncover the rare varieties that collectors are desperately searching for, and explore the condition and grading details that can dramatically increase a coin's value. You'll also discover important auction results, expert collecting tips, and the small details that separate an ordinary Buffalo nickel from a highly desirable collectible. Before you spend, sell, or overlook another old nickel, make sure you watch until the very end, because the coin sitting in your collection, coin jar, inherited box, or forgotten drawer could be the hidden treasure that everyone else has missed. We're counting down the top 3 Buffalo nickels worth checking carefully. Let's begin the hunt for these remarkable 5-cent treasures. Coin number 3. Imagine this. You're sorting through a jar of old change, maybe one that's been sitting in your closet for decades. Your fingers are sifting through pennies and dimes, and then you see it. A coin with a majestic buffalo on one side and the stoic profile of a Native American chief on the other. It's a Buffalo nickel. Most people would glance at it, maybe admire the artwork for a second, and then toss it back, thinking it's worth exactly 5 cents. But what if I told you that this unassuming piece of copper nickel, the one with the letter D hiding on the reverse, could be the key to a life-changing payday? What if that 1927 D Buffalo nickel in your possession is actually worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even more than $45,000? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to be running to check every single coin you own. Let's start with the story of this coin, because to understand its true value you have to understand its troubled birth. The Buffalo nickel, designed by the brilliant sculptor James Earl Fraser, was introduced in 1913 as a symbol of the American West. It was beautiful, powerful, and uniquely American, but from the very beginning it was plagued by problems. The date on the obverse, located on the shoulder of the Native American chief, wore off far too easily. The denomination on the reverse was initially placed on a raised mound, which also wore down quickly, leading to a design change in 1913 that placed the words 5 cents on a recessed flat ground. By 1927, the coin had been in production for 14 years, and the dies used to strike them were often old and worn. This meant that many 1927 D Buffalo nickels left the Denver Mint with weak strikes, lacking the sharp details that collectors crave today. And that is precisely why finding a well-struck, pristine one today is like discovering buried treasure. But here where things get interesting. The 1927 D Buffalo nickel had a mintage of 5,730,000 pieces. That sounds like a lot, right? It is. But here's the catch. The number of survivors is but a mere fraction of that original production total. You see, millions of these coins entered circulation where they were spent, lost, worn down, and eventually melted or discarded. Fewer than 1,500 to 2,000 are thought to exist in uncirculated condition, and perhaps only 150 remain in gem quality MS65 or better. In fact, in gem condition, the 1927 D is tied for the rarest of all Buffalo nickels. Alongside the legendary 1919 D and 1920 D, this isn't just a coin. It's a conditional rarity, a numismatic treasure that serious collectors will pay a fortune to own. Now let's talk about what you're actually holding in your hand. Take a close look at the obverse, or the head side of the coin. Designed by James Earl Fraser, it features the right-facing profile of a Native American chief, a composite of 3 different Native American leaders. The word Liberty curves around the top from the 1 to 2 o'clock position, and the date 1927 is located on the lower left of the chief's bust. But here's a critical warning. Because the date is on such a high point of the design, it is often the first thing to wear away. If your coin has a weak or missing date, its value plummets, but don't let that fool you into thinking it's worthless. Some of the most valuable coins in the world are the ones with the sharpest, most complete strikes. Now flip the coin over to the reverse. This side is breathtaking. It features a full portrait of a majestic American bison, believed to be modeled after a famous buffalo named Black Diamond who lived in the New York Central Park Zoo. The words United States of America curve along the top, with the motto EPLURABUSUNUM just underneath. The denomination 5 cents is spelled out at the bottom, resting on a flat ground. But the most critical detail for you to find is the mint mark. This tiny letter can mean the difference between 5 cents and $5,000. On a 1927 D, you'll find the D mint mark located just below the words 5 cents on the reverse. That D tells you this coin was born in Denver, and it is the specific variety we are hunting for today. But wait, because this is where the suspense really builds. The real money in the Buffalo Nickel series isn't just in pristine examples, it's in the errors. And this is the part that most people never notice. The mint made mistakes, and those mistakes are now worth a fortune. For the 1927 D, there are a handful of legendary varieties that collectors are obsessed with. The most famous is the 312 leg variety designated FS901. Aggressive polishing of the reverse die accidentally removed part of the buffalo's front leg, leaving it with only 3.5 legs. This dramatic error can transform a modest coin into a four-figure prize, with values ranging from $110 to nearly $9,000 depending on the grade. There's also the two feathers variety FS401, where the buffalo's tail has only 2 feathers instead of the normal 3. And let's not forget the repunched mint mark, or RPM designated FS501. Due to a die error, the D mint mark was struck multiple times in slightly different positions, creating a visible doubling or ghosting effect. If you find a 1927 D with any of these anomalies, you are not looking at a 5-cent coin. You are looking at a collectible that could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Let me paint you a picture of the collector demand for this coin. The Buffalo Nickel series is one of the most popular and collectible of all United States mint issues. It represents a romanticized vision of the American West, a time of cowboys, Native Americans, and vast open prairies. And because the 1927 D is such a conditional rarity, a key date that is incredibly difficult to find in high grades, it holds a special allure for serious collectors. They aren't just collecting coins, they are collecting a piece of American history, a story of a nation's identity, and a challenge to complete a set that few others can. The demand for high-grade, error-free examples is steadily increasing, and as more collectors enter the market, these prices are only going to climb. Now let's talk about what this coin could actually sell for. We've already mentioned that a typical circulated 1927 D might be worth around $2.50, but as the grade increases, the value skyrockets. An extremely fine example can bring $119, while an almost uncirculated one is worth $163. A fully uncirculated MS-63 can fetch $619, and an MS-64 is valued at over $1,000. An MS-65, a true gem, is valued at an astonishing $4,410, but the record for this coin is mind-blowing. An MS-66 example has sold for an incredible $22,500, and the absolute highest known sale for a 1927 D Buffalo Nickel is a staggering $46,000 for a flawless MS-66 specimen. Imagine that, finding a coin in your pocket change that could pay off your car, your student loans, or even a down payment on a house. But here's the most important part of this entire video. How do you identify the valuable version? First, check the mint mark. You need that D on the reverse just below the words 5 cents. Second, examine the condition. If the coin is worn, scratched, or dull, it's likely just worth a few dollars. But if it has brilliant original mint luster, a sharp strike with full horn and clear feather details on the buffalo, and no visible marks, you might have something special. Third, and this is critical, look for errors. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Look at the buffalo's legs. Does one look shorter than the others? Look at the mint mark. Do you see any doubling? Look at the buffalo's tail. Does it have only 2 feathers? If you see anything out of the ordinary, do not spend this coin. Do not clean it. Do not even touch the surface with your bare fingers. The oils from your skin can damage the coin and reduce its value. Instead, put it in a protective holder and consult a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. And this brings me to my final, most dramatic warning. There are counterfeit examples out there. Because the value of some of these coins is so high, scammers are creating fakes. The most common counterfeit is the 312 leg variety, where unscrupulous individuals have ground down the leg of a genuine Buffalo Nickel to create a fake error. Always be suspicious of a coin that looks too perfect or has an unusual color. The easiest way to protect yourself is to have your coin authenticated and graded by a reputable third-party service. They will verify its authenticity, assign a grade, and encapsulate it in a tamper-proof holder. This process can cost anywhere from $20 to $50, but it can increase the value of your coin tenfold and make it much easier to sell to a serious collector. Now let's reveal the highest known value for your 1927 D Buffalo Nickel. According to the PCGS price guide, an MS-65 example is valued at over $4,400, while an MS-66 is worth an astounding $22,500. But the absolute pinnacle, the record-breaking sale that made numismatic history, is the $46,000 paid for a single, flawless 1927 D Buffalo Nickel. This tiny detail, this tiny D on the back of a coin featuring a buffalo could change everything. the value may leave you speechless. So here is your call to action. Right now, pause this video, go check your coin jar, go check your car's cup holder, go through that old collection in your attic. Look for that 1927D with the tiny mint mark, look for the errors, and if you find one, treat it like the treasure it is. You might just be holding a piece of history worth a small fortune. The story of the Buffalo nickel is a story of the American West, a story of a design so iconic it has never been forgotten. Don't let this opportunity slip through your fingers. Share this video with your friends and family because they might have one too and not even know it. And remember, in the world of coin collecting, knowledge is power and the most valuable coin is the one you haven't found yet. But your story might just be the next one we tell. Next up. 1936D Buffalo Nickel, the $37,000 coin hiding in your pocket. What if I told you that right now, somewhere in your house, tucked inside an old coffee can, buried in a dusty dresser drawer, or hiding in plain sight among the spare change on your nightstand, there could be a coin worth more than a brand new car? Not a gold coin, not a silver dollar, a nickel. A 5-cent piece that could pay off your mortgage, send your kids to college, or completely change your life. And the craziest part, you probably walked right past it without even knowing. Today, we're going to uncover the shocking truth about the 1936D Buffalo nickel, a coin that has sent collectors into a frenzy and turned ordinary people into overnight millionaires. But here's where things get interesting. Not all 1936D Buffalo nickels are created equal. Some are worth pocket change, but others have sold for tens of thousands of dollars. And there's one tiny, almost invisible detail that separates the worthless from the priceless. Most people never notice this, but after today, you will never look at a Buffalo nickel the same way again. The year is 1936. The world is in the grip of the Great Depression, Franklin D. Roosevelt is in the White House, and the United States Mint in Denver is hard at work striking millions of 5-cent pieces featuring one of the most iconic designs in American coinage history. Designed by the legendary sculptor James Earl Fraser, the Buffalo nickel, officially known as the Indian head nickel, was first introduced in 1913 and quickly became a beloved symbol of American heritage. Fraser's masterpiece features a proud Native American chief on the obverse, a composite portrait inspired by 3 real-life chiefs, Iron Tail of the Oglala Sioux, 2 Moons of the Cheyenne, and Big Tree of the Kiowa. The reverse depicts a majestic American bison, believed to be Black Diamond, a famous buffalo from the New York Zoological Gardens standing atop a raised mound. It's a design that captures the spirit of the American frontier, and for decades, collectors have been obsessed with it. But 1936 was a pivotal year. The Denver Mint struck 24,814,000 of these nickels, a massive number by any standard. And yet, within that sea of millions, a tiny handful of coins would become legendary. Now let's talk about the coin itself. The 1936D Buffalo nickel is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel. It weighs exactly 5 grams and measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter. The edge is plain. On the obverse, you'll find the word Liberty curving from the 1 to 2 o'clock position, with the date 1936 prominently displayed on the lower left. On the reverse, the words United States of America arc across the top, with the motto EPLURIBUSUNUM just beneath. And at the bottom in bold lettering, the denomination 5 cents is spelled out. But the most important detail is the mint mark. Flip your coin over and look below the words 5 cents. If you see a small letter D, congratulations, you're holding a Denver minted coin. And that D is the key that unlocks a world of possibility. So what's a regular 1936D Buffalo nickel worth? In average circulated condition, it's valued at around $1. A nice uncirculated example might bring $40 to $60. MS-65 specimens sell for around $124, and MS-66 examples can reach $194. But then something incredible happens. At MS-67, the value jumps to $1,125, and the finest known example ever graded, an MS-68 specimen certified by PCGS, sold at auction for a staggering $37,375. That's right, a single nickel worth 5 cents at face value sold for more than $37,000. But wait, there's more. Because while a pristine MS-68 1936D Buffalo nickel is incredibly rare and valuable, it's not the most valuable version of this coin. There is another variety, a coin so strange and so unusual that it has become the stuff of legend. I'm talking about the 1936D 312 legs Buffalo nickel. What happened next shocked collectors. Sometime during the minting process in Denver, an overzealous mint employee polished the reverse die a little too aggressively. The result? The bison's front foreleg partially disappeared, leaving behind a buffalo with only 3.5 legs. It's one of the most dramatic die error varieties in all of American numismatics. And here's where things get really interesting. Only a few hundred examples are known to exist, and virtually all of them are in circulated grades. A rare handful exist in uncirculated condition. In fact, some experts believe that only about 50 examples of this error survive today. That makes the 1936 D312 legs Buffalo nickel one of the most sought-after error coins in the entire Buffalo nickel series. But what's it worth? Hold on to your seats. Even in low circulated grades, this coin sells for thousands of dollars. A coin graded F12 can bring $1,650 to $2,700. In EF45, values jump to $5,450 to $8,800. And in uncirculated condition, a single MS63 example sold for an astonishing $20,700. The PCGS value range for this variety goes up to $30,000. Let that sink in for a moment. A 5-cent piece struck over 80 years ago is worth $30,000 because a mint worker polished a die a little too hard. But the 312 legs error isn't the only valuable variety you need to know about. There's also the 1936 DD repunched mint mark, officially designated as FS502. This variety was created when the D mint mark was punched into the die twice, resulting in a subtle doubling effect. Depending on the grade, these coins can be worth anywhere from $15 to as much as $11,000. And then there's the 1936 DS over mint mark, designated FS511, where a D mint mark was struck over an S, a fascinating error that can command prices up to $4,125. There are also double die reverse varieties from 1936 that feature extra thickness on the reverse lettering. And while the standard 1936D is relatively common, the error varieties are exceptionally rare. That's why collectors search for them with the intensity of treasure hunters. It's why they comb through bags of old coins, attend auctions, and pay top dollar for certified examples. So how can you tell if you have a valuable 1936 D Buffalo nickel? The first thing you need to do is check for the mint mark. Look below 5 cents on the reverse. If you see a D, you're on the right track. Next, examine the condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to perfect mint state, and the higher the grade, the higher the value. Look for clear, sharp details on both the Native American's hair and the bison's fur. Check the horn on the buffalo. If it's fully visible, that's a good sign. But the real jackpot is the 312 legs error. Flip your coin over and look at the buffalo's front leg. If it looks weak, partially missing, or appears to have only 3.5 legs, you may be holding a fortune. But be careful, counterfeit examples exist. And many unscrupulous sellers have tried to pass off altered coins as the real deal. If you think you found one, the safest thing to do is send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will authenticate it, grade it, and encapsulate it in a tamper-proof holder. A certified coin is worth far more than a raw, ungraded one. The collector demand for these coins is absolutely ferocious. Buffalo nickel enthusiasts, known as buffalo hunters, are constantly searching for high-grade examples and rare errors to complete their collections. The 1936D is considered one of the most common Denver-minted buffalo nickels, but in gem condition it's actually scarcer than many of its counterparts. The strike is usually fairly sharp, and the luster is typically of the subdued frosty type. But it's the errors that drive the market crazy. The 1936 D312 legs is ranked as the second most desirable variety in the entire Buffalo nickel series, and with only a few hundred known to exist, the competition among collectors is intense. When one of these coins comes up for auction, bidders from around the world fight for the privilege of owning it. The prices reflect that passion. Now let's talk about the hidden details most people miss. Did you know that the 1936 D Buffalo nickel has a survival estimate of only about 20,000 coins in all grades? That means out of the nearly 25 million originally minted, the vast majority have been lost, melted down, or worn beyond recognition. Of those survivors, only about 6,000 are graded MS60 or better, and just 4,000 are MS65 or better. That scarcity is what drives the value. And here's something else most people never notice. The Denver mint strike quality improved dramatically in 1936. Many 1936 D Buffalo nickels have sharp strikes and pleasing luster, making them especially attractive to collectors. Uncirculated samples are affordable up to MS66, but once you cross that threshold into MS67 and above, the prices skyrocket. That's the secret that separates the casual collector from the serious investor. The value may leave you speechless. A coin that was once worth 5 cents that you could have spent on a piece of candy or a newspaper is now worth more than a luxury vacation, a down payment on a house, or even a brand new car. The 1936 D Buffalo nickel is proof that treasure is hiding in plain sight. It's in the old coin jars, the inherited collections, the forgotten albums, and the spare change you've been ignoring for years. It could be sitting in a box in your attic, tucked inside a book on your shelf, or mixed in with the pennies in your pocket. And you would never know unless you looked. So here's my challenge to you. Right after this video ends, go check your coins. Look for that small D below 5 cents. Examine the buffalo's legs, pay attention to the condition, and if you find something that looks like it could be valuable, don't spend it. Don't clean it. Cleaning coins destroys their value. Instead, get it authenticated, get it graded, and who knows, you might just be holding a $37,000 nickel and not even realize it. This is the thrill of coin collecting, the possibility that the next coin you pick up could change your life forever. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a treasure hunt. And if you've ever found a valuable coin in your pocket change, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your story. But for now, keep your eyes open and your magnifying glass ready, because you never know what fortune is waiting for you in the most unexpected places.